What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sequence. I'm your host, Trevor Plouffe. We have a very special guest for you today. The first pitcher ever on Sequence. He's a streamer. He's a podcaster. He's a stud reliever for the Minnesota Twins, Trevor May. What's up, Trev?
What's up, T? Thanks for having me on, man.
I appreciate you coming on. We go way back.
We do.
2013, 2014. Yes, sir. We were teammates. In fact, your first ever start in Oakland. First pitch, Coco Crisp, fly ball to me. So we have some history together.
And then it went downhill from there.
Well, maybe the starting round.
Now that I'm in the bullpen, I feel so bad about my rookie year. Like, so bad. I know what they were saying. Oh, God.
I actually love that you came up as a starter. You had some success, some starts weren't so successful, but you found your way in the big leagues. Now you're one of the best relievers in the game. Your 2019 season was incredible, backing up another great effort in 2018. So I kind of want to start with that. Like, what was that transition like, going from starter to reliever? Did you alter your pitch mix at all?
It took me a little bit. I especially in 15, we were still together in 15, weren't we?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in 15, when I got moved to the pen the first time, I didn't really change it up much. I threw changeups more, but I started to add some velocity. And I kept the curveball and kept the slider, and we kind of tried to figure out, what the best stuff was. Kind of got rid of the sinker, so I threw the two seam. I never threw a sinker. So I had 5-pitch mix as a starter. I still had them technically all the way through 15 because I thought we were going to go back to starting. A series of injuries after that. So 16 and then 17 with Tommy John. So it took me a while to figure that out, but especially going into last year, I shaved it down a lot. And with Hefner, Jeremy Hefner, our bullpen coach, who's now the pitching coach for the Mets, we basically did. He was just a sounding board, man. I could bounce stuff off him, and Wes Johnson coming over to me, just saying, "Hey, I think I want to do this, and I think this gets better. This is better than this. What do you think?" And then they would go and see if there was numbers on it. We look at numbers first, then we look at actual physics behind it. We have Josh Kalk in the head in the analytics department over here in Minnesota too. So a lot of really smart guys came over and gave me all their different opinions. And when they're like, "Hey, this shows this," I pretty much I'm pretty good with just accepting the data is telling me a story and just like buying in. It doesn't take me long to make an adjustment, and I made that adjustment. I think we're based on the clips we're going to see an adjustment that I made. But yeah, I did shave it down to 3 pitches. I mean, your goal as a reliever is to throw. In the words of Kevin Jepsen, he was like, "I'm trying to throw 3 pitches and be out of the inning."
There you go.
Which. And Sam Dyson was the same way, and I was like, "No, I want 3 punchies. You gotta throw more than 3." So it's weird. It was weird from a mindset standpoint, but yeah, you try not to throw 30 pitches every inning. So unless you do that, you don't need 5 pitches. You need 3 maximum probably as a reliever. Maybe a 4th one that it's like funky if you're one of those. If you're like a Joakim Soria type guy, but I'm more of a throw it as hard as you can and then go from there guy. So yeah, we shaved it down.
I love that. I love when guys go and they, maybe sit 92, 93 as a starter, then you put them in the pen, you can unleash them, let them go and see what they got. And I think that's kind of what you did. I have one question. I'm so curious. I could sit here all day and talk pitching with you because I'm curious about it. I don't know everything about it, but I feel like having talked to guys, I have some perspective. But we played together, and at that time the Twins not so analytical, not so progressive in the technology that was used for pitchers. So when you get this whole regime change, new coaches, new technology, what was like the one thing, one piece of technology that you used that you think benefited you the most?
Piece of technology. I think that there's a couple things that I think were equally important. So we have all the StatCast data in the world now, showing not only spin rates, but I think spin rate was kind of the buzzword that first came up. It was like the analytical, like when you're studying the physics of how a ball moves. That was like the first one to come up with, like, McHugh's curveball and all that kind of stuff, and McCullers' curveball. And now that was just an indicator that you have the ability to move a ball, to get elite movement on a pitch, because the speed directly correlates with the amount it moves usually. And so basically I wanted to know how my stuff was moving, not how I saw it, because some guys finish straight on, some guys finish like falling off to the right, some guys finish off the left. That's going to change how things are perceived, how they're moving, and the hitter doesn't see it the same way. So things that I thought would maybe have some horizontal movement didn't have any. Everything was north and south, up and down, vertical. And then StatCast data, since 2017 has told me specifically, it's like you've almost no horizontal movement ever, but everything, you have a lot of vertical movement on all your pitches. And like my fastball carries and doesn't drop normally in the normal amount. So when it's looks like it's mid thigh, it's actually above your belt, and then my breaking ball would break. It would be slow enough to where it would break more down than you would perceive it breaking down. So if I could start it, it would look like it's mid thigh, and then it'd be like just above the dirt. So they're like, play off these two things because they're coming out of the same plane too. And and another thing, they debunked the kind of myth of picking up, quote unquote, picking up spin unless it's just an absolute wobble, right?
Yes.
Or a popped pitch. But if you're throwing a slider that's good and located, the ability to react to like a dot or something maybe changes your ability to fight something off, but not hit it hard. So like, they're like, guys like Mickey could like flick his hands really quick and like, just like, I'm not hitting that, but I'm also not going to miss it, type of thing. Then that's like the top 2% of hitters. Like most guys, it's just not easy. So once I learned about the break on my pitches, then I started to develop a plan. I got really much better at developing how I was going to attack people because I knew what they were seeing. And that sounds really simple. It's not. So the StatCast data and like Rapsoda will tell you this stuff now, and the TrackMan and all these devices you can get throw bullpens will all tell you this stuff. But I have the in-game stuff on the MLB website, Baseball Savant. It's all on there. So I would actually just use that. Like I could use public information just to see how my things were breaking. So that was big.
So okay. I want to touch on that real quick. So you're saying the way you perceived your pitches wasn't actually what they were doing. And as soon as you got that information of what your pitches were doing, how they were breaking, how they weren't breaking, you were able to essentially plan and I guess tunnel. Talking about tunneling now. It's
tunneling to an extent. That's part of. So you're basically in your. I guess this is kind of the first time I've made this realization. I'm able to create in my head what it looks like, a pretty accurate picture of what my stuff looks like to you as the hitter, which is really interesting. So like you have a little bit of ability to put your head like without being a hitter. And I could be like, okay, so this is why I get weird swings and misses up all the time on missed pitches, because it moves like this. And then it's come out since then. Like Kurt Schilling was one of those guys that did that forever. Roger Clemens did the old hard slider. He had a bunch of vertical movements. So he's like Adam Ottavino, like the hard sinker, hard slider thing. And he threw so hard, both those pitches look the same. So like how I explain it to kids is there's guys that go side to side, there's guys that go north and south, and very few people do both.
Yes.
Guys like Scherzer, Roy Halladay had a little bit of Roy Halladay had some ride on his four seam, but he also had that cutter and the key sinker. So like he could do that sometimes, but he was mostly here, right?
Yes.
So it's one or the other. Zach Britton, sinker, slider. Like that's usually what they are. And so once you kind of get that realization that most people are mostly in those two categories, then that's like how their tunnel works. Mine was north and south, so I bought into that. That was step one, and then I started to see how much do they move.
Sure.
And then you start, as you get a body of work in, you start to link actual like value statistics to those pitches. So you're like, these guys are producing runs on your fastball this much. They're swinging a miss on it on this count this much. So you start to build a framework like in this count, in this pitch against this guy. What's my probability of success? And it just becomes a natural, like, I get prepared for a game. I overlay like what I think I do really well, how it moves over what they do well, and what it looks like to them. And then I pick my spots in a situation like that. I do that for everybody. It's a lot of information, but you got to study it a lot. But if you have your 2 or 3 things, you're like, this I'm safe on. Like, most guys have a spot where fastballs just like, they're not going to hit it hard if it's there. And it's up and into righties for the most part. And it's and it's up and into lefties for the most part, or down and away to lefties now because they're all trying to extend up and away and get that down and in, right? So like Max Kepler, for example, I would throw him here, and he knows that, and I would just hammer him up and in all day, and then try to get him something buried. So like, it's you figure out what your stuff does, and then you have your like go-tos. And then some guys are like the Trouts of the world, and there's one guy on every team that you're like, let's not let this guy beat me. So if the guy's second, third, one out, I'm gonna stick to that spot that's the lowest probability early in the count, and if I'm behind, you're going to first. Like,
it's such a fun chess match because hitters will do the exact same thing. What pitches produce the highest slugging that this guy has? And we're going to look for that. And where in the zone produces the highest slugging, we're going to look for that. You guys are looking for the opposite. Where does this hitter have the least amount of slugging? Let's go there. And there's that chess match, and you guys have the advantage, obviously, because you have the variables in your hand.
Yeah. And we're successful more than you. That's very, very, they, like 300 batting average 70% of the time, whatever. That adage always works for that. But when you're young, it's all about learning.
Yes.
Like here, guy I've watched actually in real time learn, and it's been really cool because he's a good dude, and I like him, is Jake Cave. Yes. So he has a pitch that he loves to swing at, but he doesn't have a lot of experience in, and I've seen him over time, or not. He doesn't have a lot of like power hitting it, and he knows he needs to get a ball off the wall so he can run. He runs. He's trying to hit doubles, and he's got some juice, so he can hit some homers. He's not a singles guy, not a stolen base guy. So he knows that's what he needs to do to stay. And so the up and in, kind of like even up middle, it's just been like he swings it every time. He's like, I cannot get there enough. So let's make sure it's getting to that outside of the plate because I can hit it. I can go. He has juice to the opposite field, and he can pull it. So he's like, let's make sure this is, and that's a Joe Mauer influence, honestly, because they were sitting across from each other talking about hitting. Joe, everyone talks about how amazing Joe is. Joe literally figured that out when he was 18.
His eye is
why he was so special. So he knew exactly what he wanted. So like learning what you want, and then you do everything that you talk about keeps you there, and then makes you a really good hitter. As you start to say, this guy likes to go here, and this is where his strengths are, where he wants to go, and then when he misses, he might go here and here. And if when he misses is in one of your turbo zones, you're looking for that, because that way you're like, okay, he missed, and that's where I want to hit it. Boom, and then everything else takes over. So it's like, and then when I said guys like Miggy who could just fell off that bastard pitch, he gives himself so many more opportunities to get that pitch he's going to crush. So
those guys, I mean, you're talking about two of the best hitters of our generation.
And we're but even guys like I struggle with, like JD, Josh Donaldson, same thing. Like he loves heaters up too. His strength plays directly into my strength, but he like can foul it off. Like other guys can't foul it off as much. He just fouls it off, so he keeps getting. And then when I throw that one that's a little bit lower, but most guys are swinging through the ones he's fouling off. Yes. Altuve's what we call a bad ball hitter, and he's like, you can hit like Eddie Rosario. Like, what's the real plan against Eddie? Obviously, expanding way the hell out of the zone. Yeah. But you got to get ahead some point. And so, like, you got to find your spots. And there's times where he'll be ice cold on a spot for a month, and then just suddenly up and in is just what he's going to hit out. And it's just like those guys, you're just hoping that you're in a situation where a bad miss won't kill you. But it's all about identifying guys, right? But for the most part, guys have holes, or even things they don't want to hit. That was a big thing for like Crone. Crone would be like, these are things I don't want to hit. Sure. And he just never swung at them. And then he would say,
tough for me to do.
Exactly. And you not swinging at a pitch, you're like, is that where I don't want it? Even if it's a strike. It's like, I can imagine, dude, I would swing it. I play the show and I swing at everything. Like, like I can imagine what that's like. So
yeah, don't be a hitter, bro. You're good where you're at, okay? It's probably a little too late for you too.
Probably a little bit too late. And we saw how I hit at one time.
You have power. I will say that. No doubt about that.
But the second little thing, and let me touch on technology-wise, is the biomechanics measurement systems. So there's a bunch of different ones. I don't even know what they're called at this moment. But basically, they're motion capture. Mm-hmm. They capture where your like important points in the kinetic chain for pitchers and hitters. Mm-hmm. So like during your swing, like you guys have hip separation too and keeping your hands back. Same thing. We have hip separation with our arm being back. That's what generates your power. Your hips getting in front of where you are while keeping whatever you're going to move back longer. And so we realized through our analytics department that my hips weren't moving at all, but I still had really, really good, like as we got farther closer to my hand, those points, like, so it's like chest, elbow, and wrist, chest, shoulder, elbow, and wrist, I believe. So all these points when they're moving, they were as it gets farther out, it got to a like hyper elite, like top 99% hand speed. So like you're throwing 95 with no hip separation at all, which means there's a lot more probably in there. And I'm telling you, we got on a very simple program last year, maybe 2 months into the season, month and a half into the season. And I was like pissed off because I was pulling everything. And he was like, your core isn't moving with your hips. So let's get the hips moving and then we'll keep the core strong. So we worked through that progression. Over 2 months, I was throwing, like, average fastball went up 2.5, 3 miles an hour. So that's like
scary, bro.
Like in July, my average half fastball was like 97.3 or something. Like you're starting to get like up into the elite arms in all of the major leagues at that point, right? So in the 98s, 99s, even touched 100 once. Like, as a pitcher, touching 100's like
the hunch, baby. The hunch.
You got to do it. You want a trophy. You want to put it somewhere. I hit 100 in my career. I threw 100. I don't care if I only did it once. But that helped as well. So all of that combined with the plan. So my biomechanics got together and I was hitting my spots more. I had the plan. I could hit the spots. And then my last couple months of last year were really, 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 were me coming into my own, it felt like.
They were lights out. Yeah, that's actually scary that you just shared that. Like, hitters are watching this being like, how many other guys are going to start using this technology and finding an extra 2-3 miles an hour?
The beauty is there's going to be a ton of dudes like Cody Bellinger, who has incredible hip separation when he swings. And he's not a big, strong dude. He's not that strong. Like, he's not like a physically posing person.
Sure.
He has got that Griffey whip, right? That's one thing Griffey did better than anybody, and it's weird they didn't know at the time, but he had insane hand hip separation and incredible force, and that's why and then the perfect backspin on balls, like that combination is going to make you the kid, right? So the beauty is hitters have that opportunity too, because we live in a game of the long ball. You're a small dude who doesn't hit many homers. Who knows? Maybe you can generate that force. You can add that exit velo, which turns into hits long term.
I agree with that. Let's break into the highlight.
Cool.
I kind of want to set it up a little bit. This is in July of 2019. We see the score there, 5-4. You got to run around third base, and you're facing Laureano from the A's. And I've watched this at bat, so I know what's going to happen. We talked a little bit about tunneling and kind of playing those pitches off each other. This doesn't really show tunneling, but it does show your ability to, like, you're showing the elite arm speed on some off-speed pitches in this, and you can really tell because I see Laureano. We're gonna get to the highlight, but we see kind of Laureano get exposed because of it, and that all kind of gets set up by this first pitch here. So let's go ahead and start it. You look mean already if you're just looking at this
Gotta
picture.
do that. It's one thing I liked about moving to the pen, man. I my mindset changed a little bit, and I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, you have that that go-to zone in your head. It seems like where you can just kind of turn it on, and all of a sudden, because you're like a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm out there mother effing myself the whole time. Like, I talk to myself out loud, and I'm just bought into it. I don't care. I just do it.
I love it. All right, let's start this up. So, 2 outs. Trying to strand this guy. You guys are up by a run. Let's check it out.
Important to understand, by the way, there was a wild pitch pass ball, depending on who you ask, right before this scored the run.
Okay.
And
so you're even more pissed.
Yes, I'm even more pissed.
Okay, so that's a good you can stop right there. We see now this guy's 8 for 14 in this series. So he's hot.
Great, yeah. And he's hitting 280. He's a good hitter.
He's a good hitter. He's a good player.
He's an amazing center fielder too. So he's really broken out in the last couple of years. He's a good hitter.
So you see this. Are you being careful here, or are you just saying, I know what to do to get him out, I'm going to go ahead and
I know what I need to do. And at this moment, I've decided that it's going to be a strikeout. I'm not going to let this. I'm not going to have this guy on third have the opportunity to score on anything.
All right. First pitch here. Now you're going in.
Up and in.
And that's an important pitch in this at bat. You're going up and in, and was that for show, or was it like, hey, I'm going to go in there because it's his cold zone and I want to get a strike? Or is this setting up?
It's more of a setup. It's one of those things like, I'm going to either hit this up and in. He's not going to like it very much because it's not something that, like, he's not going to ambush first pitch, 2 outs, down by a run, up and in. Fastball. So my chances of that happening, like, and there being real damage done, are low. And then I also have in my head, if I miss, and this is a Tyler Clippardism. He picks pitches based on not only his ability to throw it where he wants it, but if he misses that spot, where is he going to miss? And he's not going to get hurt. So I'm going to miss up and in even farther.
Yes.
So worst possible scenario, I'm gonna graze him or plunk him, and he's just gonna go to first. I mean, obviously I don't want to hit a guy, but like, it's not gonna score the run, so we don't want the run scored.
So you're saying, and I love that. This is a great little tidbit here. So you're saying, I know if I set my target here, I know where I'm gonna. If I miss, I know where I'm gonna miss. It's not gonna be over the plate.
I'm not gonna pull it. I'm gonna arm side it more often than not.
So yeah, and I love this conversation because I know what he's feeling as a hitter now. You're like, because he was probably looking for a fastball away there.
And you got to know too, I had struck out Olsen with the guy in second, third on a heater up and away, and then I got Canna on a heater up and away.
Okay.
For a punchy, both of them were above the zone.
So he's looking to get you down.
Was a strike, but yeah.
He's looking to get you down and probably out over the plate, and
a heater.
Yeah, first pitch you go up and in. Now he's like, okay.
He's confident in his heater. I was throwing pretty hard that day, so I know that he's looking for a heater probably. He's a 2-hand swing guy. This is another weird thing I noticed.
Okay.
Which usually means like fairly quick hands, and he does have quick hands, but extending your hands, like flicking a ball oppo, is harder.
Okay.
So like just like flicking something over second. So I'm like, I want to stay out of that barrel where he can accidentally hit something somewhere. But I'm out there. I'm like kind of, you can see I'm agitated. I'm throwing lots of heaters. So that's what he sees. And then I throw a first pitch fastball.
Yes. And now because of that, and this is me thinking this about fastball up and in, I'm going straight back to the heater away here. If I'm a hitter, I'm like, he's going to go back, try to get that first strike. He doesn't want me to, target field, kind of plays big to right field. So that's where I'm looking, and now we'll see what you do with this next pitch. Still mean, still looking mean. Nope. You shake or fake shake?
I shook.
Okay. So now set up away.
100% not looking for that.
That's nasty.
If you notice, he's like heater up, and he saw it. He's like, okay, it wasn't a heater.
A little
like,
bit
he
of
recognized it wasn't a heater.
Yeah.
And he got to like dive out, see if it's a heater up, like middle maybe, and then he's just like, all right, stay in the count.
The whole time he still has heater in, that first pitch in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that second pitch there for a strike, 1-1. If I'm him, I'm probably looking for that same pitch. I don't think he is in this particular at bat. Do you see what
he was thinking? Heater away again.
Yeah,
like you're 100%. He was just full on it, and it just completely. I'm getting this one. He's like, I'm getting this one.
You're gonna see his hip go.
His hip just goes immediately, and not only he gets it going early, like he's like 100%. This is a heater away.
Yes, exactly. That's the kind of, so like the tunneling aspect of it, although you didn't tunnel a pitch before this, like he's probably expecting this to come out like it did and it'd be a fastball, but it's not.
The last two guys also were struck out on that pitch.
You could see his hip go. So now he's 1-2.
And now I'm super confident in my slider. And I just like, honestly, in my head, I go, F it, we're going there again.
Here comes the hip. Oop! Oh, you can see it really well right there. Let's try to get that up again. Because you throw cheese, so you have to be ready for that heater.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I love this slow-mo right here. Ready, go. I mean, he has no chance on the outer part of the plate when your hip looks like that. Like, the best thing he can do, like you're saying, is flick it over there to right field.
Yeah.
But he's a two-handed swinger, which I don't really know how much that really means. To me, it doesn't mean anything, but to you, you're saying you've seen it.
But watch where the bat gets to
All right,
when he swings.
Oof.
Like that's outside of the range of his bat.
Yeah, he's pulling off it.
And a big reason is his hip went, but like he's got to be fully committed to an outside pitch, and he's got to throw his hip that way outside of where he normally swings in order to get there. If that makes sense. It's not within his natural ability within his swing to like flick a pitch off the plate over the first baseman or something.
Yes.
It's just some guys are like that. You know, that might just, but that's fine. That doesn't mean anything. It just means you know, he could sell out and do it. It's just, I mean,
I love that you have that observation.
Not everyone can reach everything all the time. You know what I mean?
So you got him 1-2 here. You've seen the hip fly open. You threw 2 really good sliders in a row. Is there any thought in your mind about doing something different here?
So there was a slight like, hey, let's try up and in, but I saw that was just a bad, like that he was not expecting it. And then at one point I was like, well, I either want to be, so I want to go up and in. I'd be okay with that. But I'm like, I really just want to say F it and get that slider, because I believe I can get it just below the zone down and away to where it'll be either weakly hit, taken, or a swing and miss. And then I believe Castro's catching. Castro just threw down that 3. I was like,
it's like, why waste a pitch? That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, why waste a pitch? And it's 1-2, and I'm in the driver's seat, and I just need. I'm 20 pitches in. Like, I'm like, let's get this. Let's finish it here.
If you were to go to that fastball up and in, would you lose a little bit of that feel on the slider? Like, you obviously are feeling that slider. The arm slot is perfect right now, and you could just go right back to it. But if you were to change and go up and in, or with a different pitch, like, does that affect that feeling that you just had with those 2 sliders?
Yeah, probably. It'll change. It kind of drastically changes your approach a little bit, and so you're like, especially if I were to miss up and in, then you're like, okay, now it's 2-2. I got to make a really good pitch here, and then if you bury it,
then you got to go back 3-2. Throw 2-2, you better throw 3-2,
and you're definitely going heater.
Right. All right, let's check it out. So we know a slider's coming, but now you got to locate it again, do the same thing. In your mind, if you do that, he's out. And no shake. Love this angle. Ooh.
Got it with the breaking ball.
I'll throw a pause in every once in a while too.
I was just gonna say, let's see this pause right here. Oh. A little Marcus Stroman.
A little bit. I also do it to our next at bat too.
Hitters hate that.
Yeah, I know.
Hate it. Even if they say they don't, they do. But let's look at the location of this. You played right off it. I think he even took a little bit off of this pitch, miles per hour wise. I
think it's about the same.
About the same. Okay. I didn't see that, but it kind of looks like it. And just spot it up. You're pumped up. Laureano's like, that wasn't any fun.
And I believe that I faced him in Oakland, and very similar at bat. Maybe not that many sliders, but I got him on. I just started throwing my slider too, right? That the first time I faced him, and I got him on it, and I was like, I like this. And honestly, it's just a variation of my curveball that lets me throw it harder and breaks a little bit more consistently. We just called it a slider because at the time I threw the curveball too. Now it's my curveball.
Love it. All right, well, I appreciate you walking us through this at bat, talking a little bit about mechanics and technology and mindset. We love educating the young players out there.
Absolutely.
So we will be back with at bat number 2 with our guy Trevor May. Trev, thanks, buddy.
Yep, no problem.